Average Pat's Movie Reviews.
Hi everyone, Average Pat here to sit to chat today about the movie Birds of Prey, the emancipation of one Harley Quinn. It may have changed the names to Harley Quinn Birds of Prey or some other monstrosity that DC wants to throw at us because they can't decide how to market it because it didn't sell well the first one. This movie was directed by Kathy Yan, and the cinematographer was Matthew Libatique. I hope I pronounced that correctly. It is DC's desperate attempt to answer to Marvel's success by trying to come up with a successor to Suicide Squad. However, they didn't have Jared Leto around as the Joker. They didn't have half the characters they had in the first one. They will have a Suicide Squad 2, but this was a spin-off of a spin-off. Does that make sense? It's a spin-off of Suicide Squad. Obviously, it comes back with Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn comes back. Rosie Perez, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Journey Smollett-Bell, and surprisingly, Ewan McGregor, who was not in any of the advertisements that I saw for the movie. It's documenting Harley Quinn's life after breaking up with the Joker. She states that she got tired of living in his shadows, him taking all the credit for all the good stuff that she did. She decided, to heck with it, I'm out on my own. Struck a chord on her own, and the consequences and repercussions of such. The reason I mentioned the cinematographer, Matthew Libatique, is because of the fact of the action sequences were very well filmed. There a lot of dramatic slowdown, a lot of slow motion flips and kicks and stuff along those lines. However, they were used sparingly and decently enough where it wasn't overkill. However, the storyline, the plot, the forced acting, they just couldn't make up for it, unfortunately. The story was weak to begin with. The weak showing in the box office the first couple of weeks when they actually physically changed the name of the movie. The night I went and saw it was actually the night they changed it to Harley Quinn Birds of Prey without telling anybody. It was fun trying to buy a ticket for it. I was like, what's the name of it now? So they tried desperately to try to make it look better to everybody, to try to make it a better movie. They even dared go to a rated R after the success of Joker. But this doesn't even come close to where Joker was. Joker was a good character study. This is more just a violence-filled, foul language. Even the soundtrack was foul language, which I found amusing, actually, because they were just that desperate to try to get the angry female angst out. And through the music, they tried doing that as well. This movie is not one that I would put high up on my list of comic book movies. It felt very forced. It felt very weak. The descriptions and the basis of who these characters are, besides Harley, because we knew her from the first, from Suicide Squad. There really was no explanation as to who these people were, what their powers were, what their abilities are. When one of them shows up using a power, you stop and think, like, where the heck did that come from? Where did it even imply that was their ability? And I know a lot of people that were at the theater were confused by that. Now, I'm very, very poorly connected to these stories. I will admit, first and foremost, I'm a Marvel fan. You can see the posters behind me. I do read some DC comics. I read them back in the day. I didn't know half these characters. It's kind of a desperate attempt of DC to thrust out some lesser-known characters to show that they have a library as well. And I think the forced nature of it really showed through in the overall movie. This movie, honestly, if I'm rating it, I'm giving it a 2 at the best. And the reason it's getting even that high is because of the action sequences that were filmed quite well. There was good cinematography. There was very good choreography. I will give that. Margot Robbie obviously trained very well for her role. She did very outrageous but believable in a way action sequences when she was involved in assaulting somebody, or an action sequence involving gunfire. She was involved in it as best as she could be. they made sure to show her face as it was going through, and I think that was more of a look, we can do our own stunts too than it really was her showing off. The work she put in was obvious. She believes in the character. You can feel her presence in it. But everybody else felt very, very forced. I was very disappointed. I give this movie rating only a 2 out of 5 for me. I would say skip it until it comes out on Netflix. You're not missing much. I know it's been a while since it's been out in the theater. I had problems with my account, but it's not going to make a difference. You don't need to see it until it comes out on streaming services. If you like and appreciate my review of this or any of my reviews, please make sure to check like on Facebook, subscribe to my YouTube page, and stay tuned for a lot more exciting stuff. I've got Netflix reviews coming up, and I've got a couple Prime movies that I've watched recently, and I'll be interspersing them amongst movies now as well. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good night.